Hey, howdy guys. This is a long video. This was not the intention when I started it. I put a timestamp in the description and maybe on the screen so you can actually fast forward to the part that I'm actually talking about the diet. It's over an hour and a half in, so yeah, go for it. Hello, can you hear me? Alrighty. Oopsie doopsie. Why are they so looking at me? I fucking hate people. Look somewhere else. Alright. Whew. Whoa. It's hot out today. It's a wonderful 62 degrees. Wouldn't you believe it? And it's only, what is today? Sunday, March 3rd. I took my sweater off for the first real time. Just t-shirt. I am loving it. Not used to heat. I'm actually sweaty. It's only 62 degrees. I mean, clearly in the van it's a little bit colder than that. No, wait. In the van it's a little bit warmer than that. So I just went shopping. I bought ground beef. I also bought, where are they? Eggs. So I'm gonna be making some hard-boiled eggs, and I'm gonna be, I don't know, eating the ground beef. However, I will be eating it. But that is not really what this video is all about. This video is about updates. Carnivore diet updates. We will be getting the results for the month of February today. So we remember what did we do? In January, as recorded as of February 3rd, we lost roughly 5.5 pounds. So we are down to 41 pounds, I believe. 341, that is. And I know, everything is falling. So we are down to 341, and we want to know if today's update is gonna get us any good results. I mean, first off, I want to know if I actually lost weight, right? I don't know. I'm always scared. Every time I have to step on that scale, I'm worried. Seriously, I'm worried. I don't know if I lost weight or not. You know, if you're my size, you know, you don't notice 5 pounds either way, right? It's not that easy. You know, some people say, like, yeah, but you know it in your clothing or maybe how you feel. It's like, nah, it's like I feel like shit every day. And my clothing is already loose because it's the only clothing I feel comfortable in because I'm fat. I mean, let's just be honest here. So, how much did I lose? Did I lose at all? Did I gain? Right? Or is this going to be a doozy like December where I gained 3 pounds or whatever that was? I think there was a net gain of like 3 pounds. So I don't know where we're gonna go. You know, it's results that can be anything. I'm hoping for a loss. I'm hoping for at least the same loss as last month's 5.5 pounds. That wouldn't be according to my goals as published in my last video, where I was wanting to be losing 8 pounds a month. But if it's 5.5 pounds, that's 5.5 pounds more than 0, and I have to take that as a win. Maybe for me, 5.5 pounds is a reasonable amount of weight loss at my stage in the journey. Right? As a reminder, like any diet works in the first 30 to 60 days because you're shedding a lot of water from your body. Water weight and fat weight is different. It makes a huge, shedding 40 pounds of water is a huge amount. But the fast results are going away and are going to be replaced with reasonable results of actual weight loss. So perhaps 5.5 is a good number for me, my body, my activity levels, and the food I consume. Maybe the 8 was a little bit optimistic. So that is very much possible. I'm on my way to the park. Unfortunately, it's Sunday, so there's going to be a lot of people at the park. Never happy about that. You know, I rather have a nice day fall on the weekday than on the weekend. I know that doesn't help you if you're off on weekends, but it helps me. And this is all about me. I'm sorry, I'm selfish. I don't like people. I don't like people around. I don't like to be watched by people doing something or anything, really. Now, this is quite interesting actually, because I'm less hesitant about being seen by people when I am with people. And that is perhaps based on me being more focused on the people I'm with instead of being focused on myself and the people around me who I'm not with. So, you know, if you don't have a social life like me, you know, no family, no friends or anything, then, you know, the moment you see people, you're gonna be feeling that you're being judged. And I know we're humans, we all are judging all the time, right? So I prefer the park without people, because it means I can do my thing without having to be worried about being judged or someone being curious, which is still judgment, right? Putting up 1 or 2 or 3 cameras or something, staging a shot or whatever it is, right? Because not everything is like fluid, like whatever, like me talking to my van right now, right? This is more like fluid, nobody sees me. But if I'm at the park, you know, there's people passing by, right? Are they gonna overhear anything I say? Taken out of context, I may sound like an idiot. Even with context, I might sound like an idiot. So yeah, I'm not too fond of having people around me, at least if I'm not part of people, and generally I'm not. So that being said, I'll be, as often as I do, I'll be filming the majority of the video inside my van, and outside of my van I'm only going to be filming the hardware. I'm actually stepping on the scale. And we're almost there. I'm pretty sure the parking lot is full. Everybody's gonna be out. It's the nicest day so far in the year. There's no way that the people are not out there. Here's a fun fact. Sorry about the camera shaking. I hope you don't get dizzy. So I bought these eggs, right? 18 of them. I mean, besides that they're too expensive at $5.69. But do you realize that out of those 18 eggs, there was actually 18 chickens involved in the production of that 18 pack of eggs? Because it's highly unlikely that all of those eggs from the same chicken, right? Because they're gonna empty out their coops every day, remove the you know, from the egg production, the whatever factory they're using, and yeah, the eggs in an 18 pack, that is from 18 chickens that are doing work for me for a single purchase. This is crazy. When you eat a steak, you're eating a steak from one cow. If you buy a pack of chicken wings, well, you're gonna have the same problem. You're gonna have wings from like a dozen different chickens in there. You buy chicken thighs or breast or drumsticks or even the leg parts, right? You're buying from multiple chickens. Chances are that no two pieces in the package are from the same chicken. I think this is like wildly crazy. We used to be able to eat all of the parts from the only one animal. Two at the most if you had to butcher, two for the table. Right? But for the most part, yeah, just one. Like now, I'm eating eggs. I've got 18 chickens providing food from me. This is like wild. You know, the change in how food production is done. So it's weird, fascinating, interesting. All right, we're getting closer to the park. Beer with me, beer with me, no, bear with me, beer or bear? Bear, but there's no bear over here. Do we have grizzlies here in the park? No, I don't think we have grizzly bears. Black bears, brown bears? I don't think so. So why is it bear? Why are you bearing down on me? Language, man. Language is complicated. Beer, bear. It's a beer. It's a cerveza. Salud. Drink to your health. Yeah. Alright, I can see people walking already. I'm not gonna show you because people. Someone is actually barbecuing. I can see the smoke. Probably gonna smell delicious too. This is the worst. This is the fucking worst. There is one dude sitting right where I want to set up my camera, overlooking the entire fucking parking lot on the opposite side where everybody else is. What a fucking douchebag. I can't fucking stand this mother. And he's smoking a cigar. So he probably thinks, oh, this fucks up everything. Oh. He probably thinks, oh, he's away from people so he can smoke a cigar. And that's why, you know, he's there, out of the way. God, I hate this. I'll probably have to cut a lot of this video out. Because I'm fucking disappointed. See, now I'm stuck, right? See, this is the thing, right? I've got no problem with the people being on the other side of the park. I mean, I have a problem with that too. But right here on the opposite side of the parking lot where there's not really supposed to be people hanging out, I expect a little tiny bit of privacy. The most that's coming through here is a car passing that's circling around the parking lot or getting out or something, but not someone actually hanging out. Not happy at all. See, this is a part, you know, where people mess with my plans, right? Now someone will say, like, oh, just get over yourself. Yeah, I should get over myself. But I don't want to interact with the public. I don't want the public around. I want to stay away from people. Why are you in New York City? It's a good question. It's a place where I can make the money to get myself out of the shitter in the first place and then get myself into paradise, right? It's this 1-2 whammy. Number one is damage control. Number two is progress. That's why I'm here in the city. Now, I've been here in the city for a long time. I've been here for 28 years. And I have to admit that for the longest time, I did not do the right thing. I was doing what every other 20 or 30-year-old is doing, which is just living life, being in the moment. And I also realized that that was the worst thing I could have done. Which is why I'm hard on young people these days, because I don't want them to make the same mistakes. They can live a better life. They don't have to be like me at almost 50, living in a van. The keyword is having to. There's a difference between having to and wanting to. Now, it turns out that I have to, and at this point, because my priorities have shifted. I also want to. So it's both for me now. But overall, it's like when you're young, let time work in your favor, and you can only do that if you do time the favor of creating something so that time has something to work with, right? You need a resource to multiply, and if you don't have resources to multiply, you have to create those resources, and then time has a chance. At a minimum, time has a chance of doing something positive for you. And I understand that, my current situation, time is my enemy. Because I'm old, I'm ancient, I only have so many good years of work left. And the impact that time can create for me is limited by that relatively limited amount of time that I have left in the workforce, which I guess in a normal case would be, I don't know, let's say we are 50, not yet, but from 50 to 67, that's only 17 years. 17 years is not enough to create a significant positive impact. So, you only get that benefit from being young. Jesus. Then I've got a bunch of other people standing in front of me. They're hanging out at their vehicle. Not happy about that either. Can open the windows. Did the guy move? I don't know. I can't see. I can't see if he moved or not. Maybe he's still smoking his fucking cigar. Anyway, so I guess anyone who sees this talk, you're watching the long version of this video. Anyone who sees a version that's 20 minutes or less is gonna have the short version. So there's a lot of extra talking in here right now, mostly to pass time. So yeah, time impact, right? So you have to create impact for yourself first, so that time can create impact for you, right? For example, let's imagine that you have the ability, let's say you're just 18 years old, and you have the ability to maybe go to college, or you get a trade degree, or maybe you don't want to do either. You just, an 18-year-old, you get yourself a job, right? Hopefully you live at home if you just get yourself a job, because you really can't afford to live on your own yet. You don't have the skills to thrive on your own that easily. Some people do, but it's a very small percentage. So let's just imagine you're 18 years old and you have your normal job, right? So that would be only like 40 hours a week maybe. And you're making a little bit of money, and which is good if you live at home, right? You can enjoy life and stuff. But let's imagine you also work a second job or so, and you're able to save from that second job $10,000 in just 1 year, which would be something like $200 a week for 50 weeks, right? That's not that unheard of, right? Now, in some places where you may get paid minimum wage, this could be considerably harder. But I'm in New York City, so I'm basing my interpretations on New York City. Here, the minimum wage is $15. Actually, it's 16 now, but 15 is easier math. And at $15, if you work 2 days, 10 hours each, which is not unheard of on a side job, you make $300. You pay taxes from that. Let's just say 1/3 of your money goes to taxes. It means you have $200 left over. So you could have 50 weeks times $200, $10,000. All right, that's number one. You create impact by doing extra, right? The extra work is what creates the impact for you, so you can save those $10,000. It's New York City. It's not allowed to ask someone to work 60 hours a week. 40-hour work week doesn't make anyone thrive. Let's put it that way. So, and as an 18-year-old, you really have no other responsibilities, right? So you definitely should be doing that. You know, work your ass off, make money. But here's the thing. So if you can save $10,000 in just 1 year, let's just say you try to invest that money. And let's just say you try to do it smartly, right? So you're not gonna put it into a savings account or so. Let's just call it a retirement account. Just so we're clear that you're not gonna be touching the money. Now, if you have $10,000 and over time, especially in a retirement account, let's say you get a annual growth or yield, they call it, of 10%, which is also not unheard of, right? So sometimes it's a little bit less, sometimes it's a little bit more. But that means in 1 year, you would be growing your money by $1,000. That means in 10 years, you would be growing that money by $10,000, right? Follow? So by looking at this, we can positively establish that we can double our money in just 10 years. And here's the crazy part about this. So your 10,000 in 10 years becomes 20,000. And we have this 18-year-old, right? So you spend 1 year saving the money, so you're 19 now. So from 19 to age 29, your 10,000 becomes 20,000. You're still thinking that's not money. It's very little, right? It is, because you started out with little. This is how growth works. You have to start small so you can grow bigger. But then from 29 to 39, the 20,000, which is because all the money that you're making on it yields whatever, everything gets reinvested, right? Because you are here for growth. So from 29 to 39, the money also doubles. So the 20 becomes 40,000. And then from 39 to 49, your 40,000 becomes 80,000. And then from 49 to 59, your 80,000 becomes 160,000. And if you just say you want to keep it there until you're actually 69, your 160,000 becomes 320,000. And this is out of a measly $10,000 that you put in originally when you were 18 years old, 19 actually, right? So from 19 until 69, you can generate $320,000 out of 10,000. Now, some will argue that, well, with inflation and whatever else, right, that's not going to be worth anything. Fair argument. Fair argument. Inflation is going to be there, sometimes more, sometimes less. The future is unknown. But here's the thing. Would you rather have 320,000 with inflation or $0 with inflation? That doesn't make sense. See, like, if you don't do that at all, then you're not even gonna have the 320. You're gonna have nothing. Today, what would you rather have? $0 in the bank or 320,000? Or ask anyone who is about to retire how much money they have in the bank. Right? If they're lucky, maybe they had a pension. Maybe they have a 401k. So they might have money coming in when they retire. And you can still do the same thing as an 18-year-old, right? Like, those things are not out of the question yet. This was just a little bit of an extra. But a little bit of an extra by retirement is worth 320,000 no matter what inflation is. I'd rather have that money than not. And let's just imagine you're doing the same thing from the second year, right? Let's imagine you want to do this for 4 years, because you say, hey, other people go to college and borrow $10,000 per year, and I want to work extra instead and save $10,000 per year. So we're gonna do this for 4 years, normal time for college, right? So every one of these 4 years, you put $10,000 away. The first 10,000 turns into 320 at age 69. The second 10,000 turns into 320 at age 70. The third 10,000 turns into 320 at age 71, and the fourth 10,000 turns into 320,000 in age 72. Combined, we are talking about 1.28 million for your retirement. That's kind of a big number as far as I'm concerned. And all you've really done is spend your college years working on your retirement. Now, if we were going with industry averages from the finance industry, they say that you don't double your money every 10 years. They say that you double your money every 10 years, every 7 years. Right? So they make the doubling happening way more often. So how many times in those 50 years, how many times does the money actually double then? 7 times, not 5 times. That means your 320 could be, well, that's 5 times doubling, right? There would be one more double is 640, and the second double to get to the proper amount 7 times, that would be 1.24 million. But because we did this for 4 years, we have 1.28 million, right? Okay. But we did this 4 times with $10,000 as separate investments. We don't have at age 72 $1 million. We have 4 times $1.28 million, which is somewhat over 5.1 million by retirement. So now let me ask you one more time. Do you think 10,000 is a lot of money to put on the side? And do you think that even with inflation, you would be happy having potentially between 1.2 and 5.1 million in the bank? Right? It's a theoretical example, but it is based on the concept of impact and time. You create impact early on and you let time work for you. The longer you wait, the fewer cycles of doubling do you get. If I'm nearly 50 and I have only 20 years to go, if I put in 10,000 today, that's only going to be 40,000 in 20 years, or 80,000 if I'm generous. I'll be still happy with 80,000. Don't get me wrong, but that's a far cry from 5 million. Waste half your time. How much are we wasting actually? You get like 12, 13, 14 times more out of it if you do it early, if you do it at age 18, 19. Right? If your parents want to set you up for life, maybe they give you 10, 15,000 just to get started, right? Straight into your retirement account. Never touch it. Right? The never touch it is non-negotiable. It does not matter what happens out there. You don't touch it. You'll never use that money, never take it out. You never stop. But that is a question of impact and time working in your favor. You've got to create impact early on in life. So yeah. Now the video is already. Is he still sitting there? I can't see. Let me just walk around real quick. All right, the douche is still sitting there. He is truly enjoying watching the fucking parking lot. God, I freaking hate people. Why does he have to do that? God, I can't stand this. Anyway, while I was outside, I was checking on my stickers up front. So it turns out that my annual inspection is up. So it's March, right? So I've got to get a new inspection. I know I need to get an oil change too. The light hasn't come on yet for it, but I've driven for a year without an oil change. I read somewhere you're supposed to, if you drive low mileage, you're still supposed to change the oil every 6 months. I think I read this somewhere. I don't know if that's actually correct or not, but at this point I feel like I would like an oil change. It's been a year. Also, my exhaust pipe is a little loose. It rattles, and I think it contributes to poor gas economy. So that needs to be fixed. So oil change, exhaust pipe, and then inspection. That's on my list for March. No happy here. So that is that. Yeah, I've got things on my list to do. God, I really hate seeing that guy over there. I can't weight myself on an uneven surface. Should I go somewhere else? God, I hate this. I need a flat, level surface to weight myself. I might be able to go back to that supermarket where I weighted myself the last 2 times. It's on my way back. I don't want to, but I could. And in the back of the parking lot, there's no one really hanging out. Not like this douche. You think life is easy, right? It is easy for quite a few people, right? They just live it. I don't live life like other people do, like I don't know. I've built my own walls, right? My own restrictions. Whenever I do something, I don't want to be seen by people. I don't have family or friends, really. So I try to avoid people. I really do. I think it's part of why I live in a van. I really try to avoid people. It's like, I mean, I like people too, but this is beautiful out there. Sun is out, 62 degrees. It's nice. It's nice. I like the sunshine. It gives me a little bit of energy. It actually clears my head a little bit. I'm not feeling as depressed and deprived and mentally oppressed. Right? The sunshine kind of lifts my spirits a little bit. I need a lot of lifting of spirits. I don't have a lot of. I'm generally speaking a very low energy type of person. I'm very hard to self-motivate. I'm very resistant to change. In many ways, I display the the main characteristics of someone with ADHD or even someone with autism. Now, I'm not autistic. I mean, I guess I could be on the extremely low end of it, but a combination of low end autistic and higher level of, or medium level of ADHD, plus all the other, what's a famous phrase nowadays? All the damage life has done to me. You know, it just puts me in a, yeah, these are my preferences, this is what I want, this is what I'm willing to do. And staying away from people for the most part is part of that. Yeah, it's unfortunate because life actually evolves around people. Or at least the value of life evolves around people. And I'm getting a very low amount of that. I rarely laugh. Actually, yesterday I was laughing with some customers. They were funny. That was good. I enjoyed that. But it's, you know, it doesn't last. It doesn't hold me over until the next laugh, really. It's unfortunate. That's my story, right? What did this one guy say the other day? You know, your story is not very compelling. Yeah, it might not be compelling. It's my life, though. And these videos are all about my life, right? So if you don't like the story, that's on you. It's my life. Sometimes I don't like it myself. It's still my life, and that's why I'm telling the story. Have you ever read someone's diary and said, like, you know, I really don't agree with what he's writing? It was like, well, it's not your life, it's someone else's life. It's his biography, right? Or her, you know, you can judge. That's fine, right? We're all judging. You can tell me I'm an idiot, loser, or whatever, or I'm a horrible storyteller, or like, why don't you just get off YouTube and get yourself a job? Yeah, you can say all those things, and it's, you know, mostly that's all valid points that people may even bring up. It's still my story. This is my reality, right? So it doesn't matter how you feel about something if it's someone else's reality. My reality is based on what my brain can do for me, right? I'm not a very strong believer in society or government or what do you call that, systematic oppression. Definitely not in a free country like America. Also not in the most part of Western Europe. It's such a minor factor that it's irrelevant. I believe in the power of the individual, the power of the self. You can define what your life is gonna look like relatively to your surroundings. And relative to your mental capacity. So if I hate people so much and I don't want to be around people, then that limits me. But that's not society's fault, that's my fault. Technically, it's not even fault, it's just my reality, right? You don't have to assign fault for everything that is not, I don't know, perfect or ideal or the most beneficial or whatever. Fault is just another version of trying to assign blame to someone or something else that is out of your control. You know, for most people, most of our lives are in our own control because we make decisions for ourselves, just like in my example of saving money. That is in your control, right? And you can start controlling that as an 18-year-old. Now you have to have the idea, but ideas are out there, right? You will always have naysayers, and you will always have people who's gonna say, nope, you can do anything that you desire, which is kind of like what I'm doing. I find that people who are negative towards me are not really enabling me to explore the unknown or grow, because naysayers generally hold you back. Oh, you're working 70 hours a week, 7 days a week. You need a break. You don't burn yourself out. It's not worth it. It's this, it's that, self-care, right? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that all sounds great, but I'm not gonna get to where I want to go if I follow your advice. And it might be based on the fact that we all have somewhat different value systems, right? If you don't want to have $5 million in retirement, don't start saving money when you're 18. Wait until you're 50 and you won't be having $5 million in retirement. It is that simple, right? And some of it, like if you have someone who's actually encouraging, right, who keeps telling you that, right, who keeps asking you, it's like, hey, have you done that yet? Right? You can feel two different ways about that person. You can feel that you don't like that person because they keep pushing you. You don't like to be pushed. I don't like to be pushed either. And that you rather not hear from that person because you're sick and tired of what they're saying. Because your value system is based on today and now and not on the future. And that is a valid value system. But it also means you're actively deciding that you want to have maybe only 80,000 in retirement instead of 5 million. So there is an unfortunate part in here. As a young person, we often need to grow before we realize certain things are actually important. And you might come to that realization when time is no longer on your side and you can't reap the benefits of time itself. And that's when you might remember that person who kept pushing you, and you're gonna say like, yeah, I should have done that thing that would not have hurt me back then, but would benefit me now. Right? You might come to that realization. Or if you really want to go that route, you're gonna say, well, society hates me, the system is stacked against me, and there's no way of keeping up or catching up with anything. And you are correct, actually. The system is stacked against you if you don't create value for yourself, right? You can only leverage time, which time is a system, is a construct, is a structure that you can only leverage when you give it enough time to do its thing. And if you give that time away, then you get older, and now time is no longer in your favor. That is when the system is stacked against you. You ignored the factor of time, the one limiting resource we cannot renew in our lives, ever. Now you'd say like, yeah, but you also don't get youth back, and I want to enjoy my life while I'm young. Which is a fair point too, and you should. But are you ignoring that you are gonna get old? Statistically, right? Even if you want to believe that the system is stacked against you, and I don't know, maybe you want to belong to whatever kind of minority group, statistically, even for minorities in the Western world, you are gonna get old. You're still gonna get 70, 80 years old. So why wouldn't you want to plan for a future where you are getting old? Right? Relatively small amount can go a long way. So, that's up to you. That's up to whatever your priorities are. And we have a habit of not wanting to take accountability for that. Many times in the moment, that includes me. But at a later point, I often realize that it is me. I'm not taking the accountability for what I've done when I was younger. I wanted to live life. I could have, when I first came to New York, it was 1995. In just 2, maybe 3 years of work, I could have made enough money to buy myself an apartment. That's how much I was making, and that's how little apartments were costing. But I didn't consider that. Why did I not consider that? No one was actually telling me that I can't do it. But also no one was encouraging me to do something like that, right? Just like, well, I guess sometimes nobody really concretely encourages you to save money for retirement. When everything becomes generic, right? It's like, oh, you gotta live somewhere, find yourself an apartment. Yeah, they don't say you gotta live somewhere. Find yourself the cheapest living option you can possibly come up with. save your money, and then in the shortest amount of time buy yourself something, because things are not actually as expensive as they might seem or sound. Right? People don't think that way. People don't act that way. Now, I had people around me who were good with money, but see, older people fall into the same trap as younger people. Enjoy your life, live your life, don't have regrets, right? Sometimes people get older and they have regrets, maybe for whatever reason, right? But I can't imagine you having regrets for having money in the bank in retirement just because you spent 4 years, your college years essentially, to build the basis for that. Why would you be regretting that? Why would you be regretting being financially stable and secure? We're just talking about 4 years. And if you're smart, you could have made way more money than that. Right? I'm just basing things on the absolute bare minimum with a minimum amount of time involved. Right? You could have done tremendously better than that. So, there might be people in your life who encourage you to do things, but your mindset is often geared towards now, because young people have a poor concept of time, right? Oh, the future is still so far away. I have time to get there. Well, the thing is that your parents, the older generation, they are there, and they realize the time that you have is not as much as you imagine, right? They realize that they are screwed, but they don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Oh, now it's bearing, before it was bearing. No, whatever, man, language. So few people encourage you the proper way, but it's not just someone encouraging you the proper way, it's also someone, not someone. It becomes a question of numbers, in the sense of how many people do you have around who encourage you to do something for the future, and how many people do you have around who say, live in the moment, live your life now while you're young, right? If the number of people who encourage you to live in the now is larger, or at least large enough, it's very hard to focus on the people who say plan for the future. Sometimes, imagine you're 20 years old. Sometimes having that one friend, especially if it's a good friend, who's doing exactly the thing for the future and is encouraging you to do the same, that can be that one single person that you kind of like look up to, but who is one of your peers. That can change your life. That one person can change the trajectory for your entire life, because they will encourage you to do things that no one else is doing. And because you like that person, and that is what they are doing, you want to, what is the word, emulate, copy what they are doing. And that is a massive driving force for a lot of people who otherwise are not self-motivated, who are not ambitious, who don't have enough drive of their own. Like for me, I've always worked a ton of hours, right? Working was never a problem for me. Allocating my money probably was a problem. And it's not because I didn't know better, because I most certainly did know better, but I didn't have a buddy who I was doing with. I didn't have someone who was like me, same age bracket as me, holding me accountable towards that kind of goal. And I think that is kind of what we need the most, right? If you have that one person in your friends group who is different like that, you can absolutely thrive. If you have no one like that in your friends group, you've got to figure that out on your own. And chances are you figure it out when it's too late. People coming down. Why are they walking past us? Maybe they're moving the truck over here. Ooh, the guy with his chair and cigar, he's going away. He has a convertible. He's putting his chair. I mean, the truck next to me is leaving too, but he's putting his chair in his trunk, so he's hopefully leaving soon. So anyway, so to come back to this, all you need is one person, right? One person that you trust and believe in enough to change your life to the better. Now, this can also backfire. This can also mean that you are looking up to someone who has, who is shady. Let's just say shady, right? Who is not looking for the future like that. Who likes to take shortcuts that are not exactly legal, right? Or who is like this live in the moment type of person, right? And if you have that person around, then yeah, you're most likely gonna be ending up living that exact same type of lifestyle, because you copy what that person is doing. You want to keep up. FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. You're not fearing to miss out of things that you don't like or that evolves around people you don't like. You fear of missing out of the things that people do who you do like. Right? It's another new concept. So if the person that you look up to is a party person, you probably want to party. And if that person is a saver, then maybe you try to save. So that one person in your life that has the single biggest impact on your decision making can set the tone for your life. Now, your parents will most likely give you a certain amount of inputs, and hopefully they are positively encouraging you in many aspects. But the moment you become a young adult, your focus shifts from what your parents want towards the things that people in your own age bracket want. And if you have that positive friend in your friends group, you might jump on that bandwagon. And if you have a live in the moment type of person in your friends group that you look up to, then you might be jumping onto that bandwagon. And that is the easiest way of how we can define how we see differences happening in society with different population groups. Right? For example, if you have a group of people who, and this could be location based, right, who are more religious, who believe in God, go to church, and community and things like that, chances are that you're not subscribing to that party life as strongly as you would when you live in a location where fewer people are religious. Now, young people are young people, and young people are going to party, so there's no question about that. But they have a better chance of falling onto a different track. Similarly, right, so the douche just went to the bathroom, so he's back now. Yeah, get in your car, get the fuck out of here. So similarly, if you live in an area that has strong family values, right, you will also more likely fall into the category of being more future oriented, because if you have a family, you have responsibilities and obligation, and many of those, especially as a man, right, and many of these obligations, responsibilities evolve around providing, and that is future oriented. You have to provide housing, you have to provide food, you have to provide for education, you have to provide for the future. That is your responsibility within the family, right? Which is the complete opposite of living life in the moment. So if you come from that background, again, you can fall into two categories. You can fall into the category of saying, hey, I'm feeling too oppressed by this kind of idea and concept, I don't want to participate in it. Or you keep participating in it, and you will most likely create something for yourself, even if you're not interested in extremes. but at least at a minimum, you will create some type of value. You will more likely live in a house than renting an apartment. You will more likely have savings for retirement compared to not having these things at all. Right? So that's another group. Another group would be just people generally for more conservative values, and this is not conservative social values, right? We see the social value aspect in, unfortunately, in politics and in social media a lot, but it's not the social aspect that I say conservative. It is life aspects. So life and a conservative aspect for life in general, it does actually mean community, it does mean family, it does mean fiscal responsibility, and it does mean security, self-reliance. Right? That is kind of conservative life aspects. Don't confuse them with conservative social aspects. Right? But if you fall into this category, and I'm in New York, so I'm more exposed to people in this category, which people would probably find surprising, but the people that I'm exposed to who fall into the category are mostly foreigners, because they mostly have conservative values, politically too, socially as well, but they understand self-reliance. They understand they have to work for themselves, that the government doesn't give anything to them, because the government in their home countries often doesn't have anything to give. Right? Now, they often also come from poor economies, so they are used to working a lot, and they're used to providing for their families. They cannot afford, in their home places at least, to live that individual lifestyle of splurging and living in the moment and stuff, right? Those are almost like foreign concepts to them. It's like, why would you want to do that? So for the most part, first, second generation immigrants have a very conservative life attitude, values, and they generally have a better chance of thriving because of that, because they don't they're not participating in the wasteful way that the rest of society works often. Now, for the third generation and down, fourth generation, those people are mostly just, in America, so they end up just being Americans, and they're gonna be applying a more liberal approach to these things, because they no longer have the same connection to the upbringing that their parents and their grandparents had, right? They don't understand the struggle. They don't understand what it means to have limited resources, because they really grew up in an environment of unlimited resources and unlimited availability to pretty much anyone who's willing to go for it. So that is that concept. This is not really what I was trying to do today. I was trying to do a update video on how much weight I lost. Oh well, it's been an hour. And if you're stuck around for this long, and I doubt a lot of you do, I think I'm gonna get into the back. The douche who was sitting there smoking a cigar, he's gone. So I no longer have to worry about him. So I'm gonna go into the back, and what I'm gonna do, I can go straight for the scale, and then I'm gonna go into the back of the van, to get the scale part out of the way. And so we're gonna do that. 1 hour. Wow, I talk that much? You see, the one reason why I talk so much is because I'm lonely, right? I'm socially, emotionally isolated, because I don't have family, and I don't have friends, I don't have co-workers, I don't participate in hobbies where I'm exposed to people that I see over and over. So I talk to myself. I talk to the camera. I talk to myself every day. Actually, when I'm working, I also talk to my customers. Sometimes I get someone who appreciates what I have to say, and they may even take notes. Let's just say take notes, because maybe there is something in there that they can use for their own life, right? It's a question of, sometimes it's a question of reaching someone when they're vulnerable, right? They are maybe fed up, they're struggling, they don't know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, and in particular when you don't have other people around you who also don't know what to do, you're more open to listen, right? I'm not gonna solve all your problems, but for one or two problems that you may have, I can give you a little bit of guidance on how to solve them, right? There's a solution for everything. More people passing. So there's a solution for everything. And, you know, many times when we're struggling, we are desperate for solutions that work, that are simple, that are easy to implement. And that's what I'm here for, man. That's what I'm here for. I really do this with customers every single day. Every day I talk about housing, and every day I talk about retirement. Every day I talk about the little impact that goes so long when we have enough time to make it work for us. And think about it. If I do this with 2-3 people every single day, right? It's like let's say 3 people a day. That's, for me, I work 7 days a week. That's 1,000 people that I talk to in a year. If only 1% out of the 1,000 for the year takes the hint and does something to improve their lives, that's still 10 people that I'm actively helping every single year to live a better life. There would still be, at 1%, there would still be 10 people who maybe get into a better housing situation, or who are able to deal with debt, or who are able to deal with, retirement, right? If that is the case, then those 10 people are an absolute win on my agenda. If that is not the case, well, everybody does their own thing, right? Maybe it's more than 1%. Imagine that. Maybe it's 20%. You know what that would mean, 20%? That would mean 200 people, right? They might not jump on it immediately, right? But it might need a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks for things to sicker in properly, right? And all of a sudden they're gonna be like, yeah, this is what I need to do. They may not attribute this back to me in my talk with them, which is fine. I don't need credits. But if that helps the people, anywhere between 1 and 20%, anywhere between 10 and 200 people, imagine how many lives that is, you know, it's between 10 and 200, right? But you know the sheer number of it though. And I do this every day, every year, right? I've been holding talks like this for the last 3 years. So we're talking about already 3 years worth of people, 3,000 people that have heard the message, right? That's a lot. Yeah, that truly is a lot. And even here on YouTube, it's hard to break into a market, right? Because people come to YouTube for a specific reason, right? There's a specific subject they want to listen to, and if you're not talking about that subject, they stop listening, which is fine, right? Because nobody wants to have their time wasted. But sometimes you get lucky and people just listen to the off-topic aspects as well. And now it's just a question of how many people are going to watch that overall. And if you apply between 1 and 20% as a success rate, then between 1 and 20% of the people might actually change their lives because of it. And because YouTube is a bigger platform, there's more access to more people. Now, in 5 years from now, no one's gonna watch this video, obviously. That doesn't mean the information is obsolete though, because the concepts still apply. The concepts have always applied. Concepts don't become obsolete. You know, your value system can't shift though. That's really what things are about, right? So my talking here is about trying to encourage people to change their value system to incorporate more growth and value, monetary value into it. There's someone specific might say like, you know, you shouldn't be talking. You're the one who didn't pay his taxes for 2 years. Yeah, you're right. And I'm struggling because of that. But that doesn't mean that I don't learn lessons from that. Just because I'm in a ditch doesn't mean that I haven't learned something from it, right? Now, I also recognize why I am where I am. I'm not blaming society, that's for sure. I'm blaming myself. But just like with my weight loss, you know, some people follow my videos because of my weight loss journey, right? My finance is a journey too. And you can have setbacks in both weight loss and in finance. So does it mean we don't learn anything from it? No. Some weight loss perhaps is just normal. I mean, some setbacks are just normal, right? You would expect them, especially over a longer period of time, right? If I only do it for one day, that's fairly easy to wing. If I do it for a week, there could already be a day where I don't do the right thing. If I do it for months, there have more chances of there being days I don't do the right thing. If you do it for a year, your chances of doing the wrong thing or having some kind of outside influence setback gets higher and higher. And just because of that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be doing it at all, but it also doesn't mean that the message is not of value. Right? So yeah, there's always value. As long as we learn, something on how to move forward, setbacks can be of value as well, because we learn certain things that do work, certain things that don't work. Like one thing I learned from setbacks is that I need to remain vigilant with my goals, right? The moment something negative happens, I need to get back on it immediately. I cannot linger on it. At a minimum, I need to break even. Let's say it's about finance, right? So at a minimum, I need to break even, right? Even if I had a financial setback. That doesn't mean that means that I'm not progressing, but it also means I'm not falling behind, right? And for weight loss, we could say the same thing. I could have a month where maybe I had a couple of setbacks, and the end result of the month means I did not lose weight. Today, we don't know yet what the number's gonna be, right? It could be that month today, right? I would hope not. But in December, as we remember, if you watch all the videos, I had a bigger setback and I gained 3 pounds. But I was also relatively massively cheating, at least for a couple of days. And then in January, I lost 5.5 pounds. So that's good. And I know, not as much as I wanted, but it's good. And I know that for February, I did not do any cheating, and I technically should have been on track with all just carnivore. So if I am, I shouldn't be worried about just breaking even or gaining weight, because I believe I should be able to actually lose weight. Because if I compare January and February, I'm a whole lot more aligned with January. No, if I compare January and December, I'm a whole lot more aligned with January than I'm with December. As a matter of fact, I don't think I'm aligned with December at all. So I really should be doing okay, right? I should at least have lost some weight. But if I didn't, okay, if you didn't do anything wrong and you still have a setback, that sucks. Ooh, that's a beautiful German Shepherd. That's a gorgeous dog. Getting distracted. You know, everybody loves a puppy, even if the puppy is 3 years old. So anyway, if you have setbacks, you need to get right bang on it. And with me and my debt situation, that was actually the defining factor of why I'm even in debt. Because the whole thing, as I stated in a previous video, started out with me getting into an accident, right? At that moment, I was not in debt yet, right? But I lost focus on my vision because a key factor for my vision was removed. The car that I totaled was my work vehicle, and it was paid, so I had low expenses for work, but it was also my home because I was already living in my car. Well, at that very moment, I was actually living in another place, but I lived in that car before, and I was planning on living in that car again to get rid of the expenses from the place I was staying at in order to move myself forward. So when I totaled that car, I lost two key ingredients, which is A, low expense income generation, because I need to get a replacement vehicle, which cost me a ton of money, and because it impacted my future plans, because my replacement vehicle was not possible because I was getting a rental car. I wasn't going to buy another car. My future plans evolved around the next 6 months, and I know I haven't told anyone about those plans because they have been on hold ever since that day. But my future plans evolved around the next 6 months, so I was not interested in buying a new vehicle. If my future plans evolved a time span of at least 3 years or 3.5 years, then I could have gone for a new vehicle, which could have changed everything to a more positive setup. But my time horizon wasn't that long. I was on a much shorter time horizon with my focus. So having housing removed and having low cost income removed, and I know low cost income sounds weird, but when you're a business person, you have business expenses and the cost of your business matters. So by having those two things removed, I was in a vacuum. I did not do what to do with myself. And as I've mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, I also don't have any family or friends. So I do not have a social/emotional support system. I did not have people reminding me of what my goal is in the next 6 months. The only thing I could see was that someone pulled the carpet out from under me. And I say someone because there was no someone. This is just the way life works. Sometimes you get the carpet pulled out. And so I can blame it on not having a social network that could prop me up and get me back on track. Now, I don't technically want to blame it on that, but a social network would have been, could have been, should have been what helps me to not fall into the hole that I was falling into. Because when your carpet is pulled out from under you and you don't have any good positive reinforcement, and clearly I wasn't telling my customers, then you have to deal with it on your own. And when you just have no guidance at all, you know, sometimes you just can't get yourself around it, right? Just a reminder of what you were wanting to do was missing, right? Even so, I had things around me that reminded me of that every single day. But I had to deal with the immediate problems, which was housing and work. And because of that, I lost sight of the still relatively short-term 6 months goal that I had. And that simply led into this rabbit hole of me generating debt. So it's still self-made. Like, there's no one else to blame but myself. And that's why I'm very hard working on getting myself out of this hole, because I still have that plan, right? I started catching myself when I stabilized my situation, as well as when I got a hold again of the dream, right? So I was able to put that 6 months goal back into place. The only problem is that 6 months goal is subject to dealing with the debt first, right? So whatever it is that I want to do, and you might find out one day if you stick around long enough, and I can actually pull this shit off, that is very much in the forefront of my mind, of my thinking. And every single day going to work, making money, is what I need to do in order to deal with the debt, so I can continue to pursue my longer term goal. And yeah, that's really what my life evolves around, right? Some people say, like, well, why do you talk about, debt and, not paying taxes and whatever? This is what happens in my head every single day, right? Everything in my life evolves around this. It's about work, making money, paying debt, and then pursuing my goal. And I need that goal as a silver lining on the horizon, so I'm more energized and focused on doing the other things, right? And that is literally what my day evolves around, right? Even weight loss, to some degree, is connected to that 6 months goal, which I still haven't told you about. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna tell you until the time actually comes. But everything evolves around that, without exemption, right? So when I talk in my videos, everything is really based on that as a premise. I was like, I need to get to that goal, and what's standing between me and that goal? Right now it's debt. What are other things that I can do in parallel besides dealing with debt that don't impact my ability to pay off my debts, but which may be good to have in place? Weight loss is one of those, right? I said in my previous video, I think, I want to get down to 299 pounds by August 1st. I think I said July or August 1st. I forgot which one. Which would be a massive win, being a whole lot skinnier and a whole lot lighter, which is something that I can do while I'm working on my debt issue, right? And because my videos currently essentially just evolve around that, right? So I'm talking about, what am I talking about? Weight loss, right? Because that is what I'm doing, right? That's the one thing that people probably find positive, because people have a harder time with a money issue, right? Because like people don't want to hear it, right? So maybe it's your own demon, right? It's like if you have an issue with money, maybe you are in that space where you just don't want to hear it, right? You heard it enough from other people. You can't get yourself to do certain things, and you don't need another YouTuber to tell you to deal with your money problems. But the end of the message is, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's very much possible. So I think I talked enough. It's an hour 20 already. God, I never stop talking. It becomes a rabbit hole that I just continue, which is part of my problem too. Just me saying this is another problem is part of the rabbit hole that I'm in. So I'm a master procrastinator. I'm not sure if you have any experience with that, but I will do everything that will prevent me from doing what I need to do, because I'm a procrastinator. This is very much connected to ADHD and or autism. For most people who are procrastinators, some people, they may not have ADHD or autism, and they still procrastinate. But yes, I'm a master procrastinator, and even making a video, even going to work is hard because I keep procrastinating. It's a constant battle. It's a battle in my head, right? I understand people who don't understand mental illness or mental health, they don't have that problem. Why would you understand that, right? You may understand it when you have someone who has an extreme case in your surrounding, right? But I think another way of looking at it, most of us have probably been drinking alcohol in our lives, and especially when we were younger, but even when we get older, we might be just, totally getting shit-faced, right? You may have other people in your life, or you might be the one who is a recreational user of drugs, right? Weed, it makes you nice and mellow and calm, and everything is peaceful. Hey, peace out, man. Yeah, wonderful. Which can work great when you want to use it as a stress relief, but it's not that great when you need to pound through something, right? Harder drugs, even worse, right? So think about the either drugs or alcohol combination. If you're consuming alcohol, what is it that you're not doing? You're not productive. You're not in 100% control of your mind and body. Because when you drink alcohol, hey, you might be tipsy. You can't walk down a straight line. Your balance is off. Your aim is off. Your thinking is off, right? And the more you drink, the more it's gonna be off. Imagine that is a normal state for you. That is the state you're in when you need to be productive, right? When you're drunk, you lose concept of time. You lose concept of priorities. And when you have some kind of mental disruption in your head, sometimes induced by outside forces like alcohol and drugs, and sometimes induced by other things, versions of mental illness or disability, depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, then being like in the state of being drunk and unable to fully control your mind and body is going to be the best day you're having, right? So when you say like, well, just do it, you're not going to tell a drunk person just do it. First, they're going to forget. Second, no, they're not doing it, right? So that is a limitation that we have. And I know being mentally ill is popular these days. And when I was younger, I guess I didn't believe in it. I didn't consider it, actually. But over the last 8 years, it has become quite obvious for me that there is something going on with me in that regard. And I can see this in my daily life, the way I procrastinate. Am I lazy? I've always worked 6-7 days a week. Obviously, I'm not lazy, right? I mean, nobody wants to work like a dog. Everybody wants to have fun. But I've always worked. I've always supported myself. I've always also fucked things up because I'm human. But this mental imbalance is not particularly helpful when you try to help yourself, right? And this is why I said not having someone when I had my accident who kept pushing me was probably the one thing that, well, not having someone is what contributed, but not having that is the one thing that could have changed my life, right? It didn't have to go down this route. I could be in a different place right this very moment. It's my own doing. But over the last 8 years, I have disconnected myself from society, and that is why I don't have a support system. And, people being supportive now is wonderful, but it doesn't change the past and the hole that I've dug myself, right? So I need to get myself out of the hole. Holding on to that goal that I'm having, which I haven't told you about, that is kind of like the only real silver lining that I have. But it's this mental state. If you're in a constant state of being drunk, you're constantly unable to do anything, or if you do, at a very low level. That is what we're dealing with when we're talking about mental health. Consider your best day to be one where you're drunk and unable to do things. And that is without drinking or doing drugs. Some of that, we can fall into holes of depression fairly easily. Like I said, for me, the accident was one of them. The rest of the last 8 years. Homelessness is another one, right? At a minimum, even if there's no real ADHD or something going on, I mean, many of us have a low level of it anyway. But that additional setback with depression sets us back even further, and it just becomes a rabbit hole. And depression has a lot of negative effects on individuals. Sometimes people get lucky and they still manage, but it's often because they have people around themselves who are able and willing to push them, right? They have the emotional, social support. I don't have that one. Again, I'm not blaming the people around me. I have pushed people away, right? But it's partially because different aspects of depression and lack of self-worth and procrastination, which over time simply becomes a compounding factor, right? So the same example that we had with money, where time works in your favor, the same way it works in your negative when it comes to depression and time. You need to deal with depression as quickly as possible so you can get out from a deep hole quickly. And when you don't do that, the problem becomes bigger and bigger and bigger because it snowballs. And that is really what my short-term goal is really what I've been trying to use as a mechanism to get out of depression, to put myself in a better situation that is not as dependent on me being 100%. And that's what I'm kind of dealing with. Imagine being constantly drunk. And I haven't drank in a long time. I mean, Christmas, I guess, was the last time I had a drink. But none of the regular drinking. I haven't done any regular drinking really in 8 years. When I started working for Uber, I stopped drinking. I went from 12-pack plus a day to not drinking at all. So yeah, that is what mental illness really looks like, right? It's a form of being drunk or drugged on a constant basis. And I've tried to talk to my doctor. He doesn't. I don't know. It's difficult. I tried Adderall for like 2 months. Maybe the dose was way too low. It didn't do anything for me. Nothing at all. It was like no focus coming back, no clarity, no nothing. It just didn't do the job at all. I don't know if it was 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams. Maybe I needed a higher dose. But after 2 months, it's like I don't have the money, right? Because I've got a money problem. So I don't have the money to keep going to doctors and buying expensive medication. Maybe I should. Maybe if the dose was high enough, maybe it would actually help me. I don't know. Right? I just can't tell you. My doctor was more concerned about me wanting to be a drug addict and reselling it on the market. He was saying, this is, you can make $1 a pill. I was like, yeah, that's great. I don't have insurance. I'm paying $1.50 a pill. What do you think? How many pills I'm going to be selling? Right. So maybe a higher dosage would be better for that. I don't know. But I'm not trying to make $15 on selling drugs on the street. Right? That was more of a concern for my doctor than anything else. I did it for 2 months. Like I said, the pill didn't do anything for me, so I stopped. I didn't go back since because I don't have the money to pay $100 to a doctor every time I go just to change a prescription, perhaps, right? Or get a new prescription, because things like Adderall are controlled substances, so you don't get that unless you go get a doctor's prescription, right? It's controlled. So even at the pharmacy, got to wing out your ID and everything else. I don't have a problem with that, but it's got to work. And because those 2 months of it, they didn't work for me. They didn't do anything. it didn't do a job. So, made me think that maybe is not the thing for me, right? Maybe that's not my problem. Now, this was a year ago, right? I was still in the early stages of my downward slide. Maybe if I had stuck to it and maybe gotten to a higher dose, maybe would have helped me. Maybe I would not have gone down this rabbit hole, right? There's a lot of maybes in there. I don't know. I can't change it. That's, the time is lost, right? It's a year lost. Maybe I should go back on Adderall. I don't know. Maybe I should go back to my doctor, talk to him. But right now, my main concern is my tax issue, right? At a minimum, I need to get that started. So I don't want to spend money on a doctor or medication. Anyway, it's an hour and a half already. All right, let me turn the camera off, get into the back. I need to eat. Well, first I need to weigh myself, and then I need to eat. This is not the video I had planned on making. It was supposed to be a uplifting, happy video about, hey man, I lost 80 pounds last week. Yeah, that's not what it is. Anyway, let's get this going. Oh, I'm trying to take my key out of the ignition. I'm holding the key in my other hand. Yeah, people. People. See, I'm procrastinating again. This entire video is just a video of procrastination. If you really think about it, this is an hour and a half video. This is me procrastinating, right? It's easier when I do this at work because at least I'm making money. But it's not that good when I'm not at work. Anyway. You're still there, right? Are you still watching? Are you around for an hour and a half? Seriously? You stuck around for that long? Wow, you're dedicated. Do you really like to hear what I have to say? Or do you just want to take notes and say like, okay, this guy is wrong on so many levels? I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking. What do you think? Tell me in the comments, what are you thinking? I like to hear it. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Don't make it blanket statements. Be specific. Blanket statements don't help anyone. Anyway, time to get into the back. Get the scale out. Get my fat ass on the scale to see the damage. I need to brush my teeth too. I need to shower, but I need to do laundry first. I'm not sure if I'm doing laundry today. It's too late already. Because I need to do laundry, then shower. See, this is one of those things of me having a good week actually at work. So now the question is, do I shower today? I can only shower if I do laundry. So do I do laundry and shower? That's 2, 3, that's easily 4 hours. That will put me into a time frame of starting work where I'm not going to be making good money anymore. So chances are I'm going to skip laundry and shower. But I still need to brush my teeth. But it means also I'm a smelly kid. And that's not good. I already didn't shower yesterday. You're going to be like, what? I say, yeah, well, this is what happens when you have depression and ADHD and procrastination. You skip it. I also didn't brush my teeth yesterday. I also didn't put any clean clothing because obviously in order to put on clean clothing, I need to do laundry first. I was supposed to do laundry yesterday. Didn't get around to it. Supposed to do it today. Probably not gonna do it, but I can still brush my teeth. Anyway, let's go in the back, do the weight thing. God, no one's gonna watch this video anyway. All right. We are taking the scale out. And there's batteries in here. I always take the batteries out of the scale so they don't deplete. These are the batteries that came with the scale. They are usually not full batteries. So in order to preserve the batteries, you know, they say like, oh, that's a lifespan of, I don't know, 2 years or something, right? And I was like, yeah, but that's only if you step on your scale every fucking day and if you leave the batteries in. But because I take the batteries out and only step on the scale once a month, these very same batteries should last me a long time, possibly longer than the scale itself. Okay. Scale. Pockets are empty. Is there anyone here? No. No people. Good. Okay. Alright, come with me. So the scale is at 0, right? Wow. 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 Come on, reset already. There you go. Let's try one more time. Maybe when I'm holding the camera it gets off. Let's try it one more time without the camera pointing at it. 344. That's it. If you want to talk about this. Okay. Gonna turn the fan on a little bit over here. Alrighty. You saw the numbers. 344. 340.4. Sorry. That is the number for the month of February without cheating. I lost 0.6 pounds. A little bit more than half a pound. You know what half a pound is? Half of this package is half a pound. And you might say that's still good. I'm thirsty. You know how I can eliminate half a pound weight loss? If I drink this bottle of water, I would have 0 weight loss. Wow. I was expecting better than that. Wow. Now, let's see. Besides that, I'm just making X. So let's take a quick inventory of what we had last month, or the January. In January, I ate pork chops every day, 2¼ pounds, and I ate a stick of butter every day. In February, I ate ground beef every day and no butter. Because for the most part I ate exactly this combo. And for the most part, I ate it with without even cooking it. I was eating it raw. And because of that, well, no, nothing is because of that. But I was eating it raw. Now, you could question, is that the reason why I didn't lose weight? You know, that's a good question. Maybe I'm going to redo February in March, and I'm going to be eating the same meat plus some butter, but I cook it. Now, at a minimum, and this, now, at a minimum, we can say that the carnivore diet is perfect to maintain weight. That is the positive we are taking out of this one. Let's see how much solar we're getting in. Yeah, nothing yet. Gotta use the battery first. Okay, I just turned my X on. So what you call it? So the carnivore diet can be perfect for maintaining weight. The problem is I'm not in the process of maintaining weight. I'm in the process of losing weight. This is a bummer. God, I hate it when shit like this happens. It's not making me happy at all. So it's essentially zero weight loss. Right? I can't say that I overate. I ate 2¼ pounds of meat. It's not a ton of food. That is 0.7 pounds per meal. It's actually reasonable. It's probably low. Why don't I lose weight? I want to drink the water. The water's for the egg cooker. I want to drink the seltzer. Seltzer is for Uncle Phil. So why didn't I lose weight? Honestly, I cannot tell you. Now, I can tell you something else, and maybe I'll put a little graphic of that in here. I move very little. I need to move more, right? I don't burn additional calories, which might be why my body thinks that you're doing okay. And my body doesn't have a need to burn extra because I'm getting all of my calories from the food that I'm eating. I mean, which is normal anyway, but what I mean is when you look like on the Apple, what's that app called? The health app, whatever it is. The calories are counted in two separate categories. One is from actual movement, and the other one is like a base level burning of calories. That is just to support your body, your heart beating, your blood pumping, your brain functioning, right? That burns energy too. And for the most part, the only walking that I actually do, and I'm only talking about walking, the only walking that I do is going to the grocery store from the parking lot, picking out my food and going back to the car. And when I go to the gym, I'm walking from the car to the gym and then back to the car. So I burn extremely few additional calories. And while I don't try to, like, I'm not a runner. I have a hip replacement, right? I've got bad knees, hips, arm joints. But I've got to incorporate some kind of movement, right? I could be walking. For all we care, I could be just walking around the park every day for 20 minutes. That alone might be enough to jumpstart my weight loss. So for the month of March, that's what I want to do. Not today, because I might have no time. And I don't have clean clothing, and I'm smelly. I need to make the money today. But just losing half a pound is bad. That's bad. And that's on one meal a day. That's almost like not losing weight at all. I mean, like I said, what do you call it? It's great if you want to maintain your weight, but I'm not there. I need to lose weight. I need to be physically more active. And I think, before I used to work in the restaurant industry in delis and stuff. And instead of, I was on my feet for 10 hours a day, 12 hours moving. I mean, at minimum, I'm on my feet, right? When I started driving for Uber 8 years ago, I went from a standing position to a sitting position. And ever since, also because of course I'm living in my car, I don't move much. Going shopping and going to the gym is the only times I actually move, which is very little. In my last job, actually, I made a fun of it, of movement, if you want. So when we needed to get supplies or something that come from the basement, I would make the point that I'm gonna get the supplies because I wanted to move a little bit, but I wanted to do the stairs. I wanted to go the stairway up and down, up and down, up and down, right? So I do this several times. And yeah, no problem, I do it. Like, why do you do that? It's like, look at my app. Look at all the steps I'm putting in, right? And I get so many stairs climbed. Yeah. And I went from that environment to completely sitting and doing nothing. So I need to incorporate movement so I can lose this weight, I think. That's the only thing that I can think of that makes actually sense. Now, in general, exercise is recommended, obviously. But I would think that at 340 pounds, ooh, the X already. You would think that at 340 pounds, you would be losing more weight, right? But here's the crazy part. If this amount of food, without carbohydrates whatsoever, keeps me at a level, then can you imagine how much weight I would gain if I was eating a normal diet? I would be gaining a lot of weight every month. If this diet of 2¼ pounds of meat sustains me, any of the bad food would just skyrocket my weight. No, these eggs can't be ready. Where's the napkin that I just had? These eggs can't be ready. Oh, I crushed one, so I guess that one is ready. I don't know, man. Are these eggs truly ready? Oh, wow. It didn't look like. It's weird. I wasn't getting any. It doesn't look like I'm getting any solar in. But I should at least get a couple of watts in. Because it is sunny outside. That egg might be actually ready. Might be, who knows. Ow. Alright, so move the eggs out. Check water level. No, actually the water is evaporated. Oh. But it only used a fraction of the power from the power bank, which has me confused. And I don't see solar coming in, like not even a little bit, which also has me confused. I guess this is not a good day. We might consider this a total failure. Losing ½ pound is not good enough. It's not acceptable enough. That is as much as just drinking a glass of water. And if drinking a glass of water makes a difference in us measuring or not measuring weight loss, then we have lost no weight. It sucks. Now, some people might say, well, yeah, well, you didn't eat any fat this time, so maybe that's why you didn't lose weight. Last month, I ate a stick of butter every day. And this month, I essentially ate no butter at all. So I definitely ate fewer calories this month than last month. Yet I lost 5.5 pounds last month. I don't get it. I honestly, I don't get it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong over here. Should I add the butter back into it? Is that what helps me lose weight? Well, I'm having 80-20 beef too. There's plenty of fat in the beef. This is like a puzzle, right? There's a lot of different pieces and you try to put them together. And, you know, like pieces that work for someone else don't necessarily work for you. I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure out what the best combo is for me to lose weight. I guess some form of movement needs to be part of the equation. Now, I'm not moving today because if I was gonna sweat. And if I sweat, I would want to take a shower. But I can't shower unless I have clean clothing. Gotta figure something out here.